Welcome aboard. Bring your EGLD doubloons with you to the boat. This is Elrond EGLD, EGLD on the exchange. One of our favorite projects. Mine are currently staking in the Elrond wallet. Let's take a look at some updates from Elrond since the last video that we did about a week ago. I can't believe how quick time goes. I keep saying we'll do videos every few days, but there's so many projects, so many amazing things to talk about. I hope you're enjoying our videos, but we do try our best to mix and match them, as well as try to keep on top of as much as we can with these assets. So EGLD, everyone. Now, a couple of things before we go into the chart. Some big things here. The Mainnet exchange, guys. This is what's going to help take Elrond to another level. Okay, there are so many great things about Elrond as it is, but the Mainnet exchange stress testing and performance improvements are going to continue to push Elrond to higher limits. Absolutely fantastic aspect here. So an upgrade has been done. Version 1.2.2.2020112. 158 new features and improvements, 58 fixes. So constant development going on with this absolutely phenomenal blockchain. One of our favorites. One thing's for sure is this one, in my opinion. Well, actually, to be fair, I mean, we've said in price predictions before we could easily see maybe $700 or $800 in this run towards the end of the year. I think that's still possible. Some were shouting about 1,000 earlier this year, but I think fair enough. I think that was quite early to be shouting those things, but it is absolutely possible. I think this is gigantic powers. And can you imagine what the price is going to be in like 5-10 years time? I mean, 5 years, it could be easily probably something between like $5,000 and $10,000 in my opinion. Let us know what you think in the comments below, but I think that's quite accurate from what I've seen and what I believe the adoption process will be for Elrond as we move forward. But certainly this year, I think we can see some phenomenal aspects of gains. Me personally, I was picking these up around sort of the $20-$25 mark, and we've obviously seen some substantial gains since then, but I think there's no way we're finished yet. And then people think, is it too expensive to jump in? Well, let's take a look at the chart shortly and decide on that aspect. If I was new to Elrond, what would I do? A couple of other things of interest here. EGLD jobs, I thought it was really interesting. So Titan Stake have launched a job board where teams building on the Elrond network can find the right people for their open positions. So this is a really interesting move from Elrond, but I want you to take a step back here. I always thought about blockchain and smart contracts, know your customer, all that aspect of verifying transactions, but also you can verify people these days with the whole ID aspect, data, and all of these things on blockchain, right? So when we look at like an education piece or perhaps a job piece, right? A job specification or a candidate. When we look at blockchain and everyone's identities are on blockchain, there is no hiding anymore. There's no manipulation of CVs or manipulation of potential educational aspects like fake certificates or this, that, and the other. Because everything's going onto blockchain, this really helps out a lot of people in terms of the defrauding aspect, but making sure that the right people are for the right jobs, and almost in terms of the AI algorithm aspect. I've known for years, like LinkedIn, I used to do some lectures at the university I used to go to, down in Portsmouth, and I'd reattend every year to speak to students about the direction of marketing and the digital aspiration of how marketing will transform over the next few years. And one of the things was about LinkedIn and how your CV is important on there. And this was about 10-12 years ago. I can't believe how quick that's flown. Well, 10 years ago, actually, sorry. I graduated. So it was about 9, 8, 7 years ago, 3-4 years ago in a row that I was doing that. And the emphasis was around like putting your LinkedIn profile because of the keywords and the SEO and things like that. But actually now it's changed so much in the last 10 years that a lot of things are done on algorithm. Okay, so not just computing, picking out specific keywords, but when you're in an AI algorithm and you're using smart contracts and all this data algorithm in blockchain, it becomes even easier because you remove the entire admin process and you literally get, if you've got 100 applicants, this whole system just go in one thing and just pick out probably the best one or the best two, and then it's just down to personality or something. And I think this is really amazing move here from Elrond, because it's actually defining this space, in my opinion. An Elrond blockchain, which is absolutely phenomenal in terms of speed and ability, is now applying this jobs aspect. And if you think outside the box, as we just mentioned about the education piece, and then finishing your education and getting job experience and work experience, and then that's all added into the blockchain as time goes by, this makes total sense, right? So albeit that a lot of it's not fulfilled yet in terms of the technology aspect in the background, there's no doubt in my mind they're putting this kind of thing together, because that is coming. There's no doubt in my mind. So let's just think about that as a long-term aspect in both education and employment history and application aspects. So I think it's a really clever move. It's in the right direction. It's certainly something that makes more sense, as well as, of course, pushing even more crypto jobs out there. So there's two aspects I see personally from this move from Elrond. So it's really clever, in my opinion. And finally, this bit as well, global finance wants decentralized application at a time. You can build your first Elrond dApps from scratch in just 13 minutes. Okay. If your lack of resources, or you're not fully stabilized in knowing coding and development too much, there's a nice, easy way to now do it through the Elrond application, or certainly their system, in under 15 minutes, guys. So go and check out this video. It's on the Elrond blog website. Really interesting watch that is. I found it fascinating, and it's always worth looking through the white paper every now and then as well. But I just thought this is a really interesting point, because there's so many blockchains out there now, technologically advanced already, to help develop other projects outside of their own system. And I go back to the point I made in a previous video just a moment ago when we were talking about ITX, and I'll say it again as I have done in many other videos. The aspect of blockchain cannot work with just one system. It has to bridge and interlace so many different ones. And what I love about these massive, massive projects like Elrond is they're open. They're not necessarily fully open source, but they're open to the point that they want to help the economy. They want to help business. They want to help others maintain development of their own projects using their system, which of course they gain from anyway through tokenomics and obviously monetary value. But how good is that, to finally start bringing the world together as if we're working towards the same goal for once? I'm sick and tired of all the battles that we face in life, the inequality, the lack of diversification. I want to see unity, and I think blockchain is doing that, and projects like Elrond stand for more than just a blockchain, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments below about that kind of point and attitude. That's how I feel, and that's what I'm passionate about, crypto and blockchain. I'm very new to this, guys. Like, I started maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago. I FOMO'd in on Ethereum, didn't know what I was doing. It flopped within a day. I pulled out, did some research over 3 or 4 months, jumped back in with more expertise and knowledge, watched loads of videos, and then I thought, I like to do this. I know a lot about external factors that conclude around within blockchain that I can bring to the table, but I also know as well infrastructures of certain sectors just from personal experience and just general knowledge that I have as well. So I can see kind of other things, and I hope you appreciate that. That's what we're trying to do, is build a community and engage with you guys in a different way, not just thinking about prices and everything, but actually thinking about the project itself and the real world scenario and the out of the box things that delve back into it. Things like the World Economic Forum, Agenda 30, it's all part of the plan, guys. It's all dreamed. And if we can build towards that goal, it's going to be a great world to live in, we hope. How many of us every year wish that 31st December just flies by into the next one? We go, I hope next year's going to be there. It never happens. The time has come for people to have power, and I think projects like Elrond are going to lead the way for sure. Let's look at the chart. Sadness over. Press that big fun button if you're finding this informative. If you're bored or don't know what I'm talking about, press it anyway. It helps me out massively. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already, or if you're new, welcome. And thank you very much for your support. We are smashing through near to 2,000 already. I'm so excited, and I love you guys out there commenting, getting involved in the community page, getting involved in our social media. Absolutely love it. and in return, I'm going to go through Elrond charts with you. So let's take a look at some developments since the last time we looked at this. I have moved this buy opportunity sideways a bit because it was a bit stuck in the middle here, and it almost looks a bit like a rainbow right now. So I just moved it to the side a bit. I still anticipate potentially coming down to the level just because of the lack of support and resistance touch points around this area. However, right now it's looking quite positive in the aspect that we've had some good momentum, we've had some good profit taking, and of course the Bitcoin nonsense as well, which we've retaliated well in Elrond. And again, similar pattern here. In fact, this point here, from the low point around the 21st of September, we had a low, I believe, $171.59. We got to 2 days later, 23rd of September, with a high of 258, and whopping 52% increase in gains. We've had a slight tail off from that top point, and including yesterday, with some more boring nonsense from China about banning Bitcoin for the 1000th time. That has indicated a 20% drop thus far. We haven't closed today, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plans out. What I do need to do actually is just move this retracement level slightly out a bit more, so we have, there we go, we're back in the room. So let's just go back here. So we couldn't quite obtain that support level around about 243 or 242. Kind of makes sense because when it comes to rounded numbers, it never stops on them. Very rare that it does. You always tend to get a touch upon it like we've seen here, and a slight touch down, depending on if it can support or resist or not. So today we had a bit of a battle earlier. We couldn't quite get back to the level, so it looks like we're trying to dip into this middle area and maybe force our way back to the 204 mark. So it could be a potential buy opportunity around that sort of maybe 20, where are we, 203. So yeah, maybe about 204 to 205 mark. Just in case we have a little dip down in the next couple of days before we jump back up. But what I do like about this, if you remember, we put our channel funnel in, I like to call it. We are actually very well placed. I'm pleased that this is playing out at the moment, and we're kind of keeping on track in this middle trend line here. So I'm quite pleased this is doing well for us at the moment. So that's great to see. What I will also observe here is on the 21 EMA, we are touching that point. So it's a bit of a critical situation over the next 24, 48 hours of whether we can keep that support mechanism. Otherwise, we may drop down to that 50 MA level, or certainly around it. Just dropped my microphone in excitement of a potential buy opportunity there. So yeah, just bear that in mind. We may come back and test this like $200 area or slightly above it, which is why I mentioned about a potential buy opportunity here. We did actually hit that a few days back, if you remember. I can't remember if we covered that in the last video or not, if it happened after the video that we last did, but either way, we hit 2 buy points on the way down. Can we hit our third? Very interesting to know. Either way, guys, both short term, in terms of the next couple of months, Elrond is going to absolutely nail it. And in the long run, it's going to be even better. Great staking opportunities on various wallets, as I've mentioned as well, with good APY on some of them. I've currently think I've got mine in a 17% one. I can't remember. But there's been a lot of improvements to the Elrond wallet in recent times. So that is certainly something to think about maybe in the bear markets to obtain and accumulate Elrond without using your own capital. One other thing I want to always point out is take profits along the way. You never know when the top is going to be. And also it gives you 2 opportunities there to either reaccumulate on the way down, or if you're just one of those that accumulates as the dips come in and you're preparing for a few years' time, that's absolutely fine as well. Everyone's got a different strategy. There is no right and wrong here. But one thing for sure to be right about is taking profits along the way, so you don't mess that up or waste opportunities, guys, because like I said, you don't know when the top is. Not financial advice, just thoughts and processes and opinions. The MACD is nicely sort of narrowing. There's a slight widening as of today, which is why I'm said I've been a bit cautious about potentially dropping out to either of these lower support levels before we start seeing a nice rally up. Arguably into that second week of October, we might start breaking that $300 barrier again. That would be something, wouldn't it? But I do anticipate that hopefully happening around the middle, maybe 3rd week of October to the 4th week of October. Let's see how that plans out. Remember this video when it happens, please. So let's see how that plays out. RSI is in the middle. So from a buying perspective, in the long run, if someone's saying to me like this looks very expensive, well, yes, it is. If you're looking back at when, for example, when I was getting maybe $25 or even slightly higher than that. But it depends on your gain aspirations, right? Because even from this point up to $800, for example, is what we think it may get to at the end of this year. That's still good gain, in my opinion. But of course, it's higher risk in the sense that you're having to plow a lot more money in. So you don't always have to buy a whole Elrond. You can do it in partial elements, of course. But yeah, just be cautious when you're considering the placement in regards to the specific structure and timing of where we are in the charts and the potential bull runs coming up versus your risk and what gains you're trying to achieve. Okay, don't just FOMO into something because people are doing a load of videos on it and you feel like you're going to miss out on anything like that. Really do your research and think about it collectively from that point. Sorry, can I just double check something here? What's going on there? Oh, does that not look like a... Oh, do you know what? I've nearly flipped myself out then. I thought that was a green wick going up there. And it wasn't. It was an arrow that I put in percentages. Panic over. I was like, when on earth did that happen? And that must have been a glitch, but just ignore me. So now we've got that scare out of the way. Well, that would have been pretty phenomenal if that happened. Can you imagine just shooting up from $200 to $800 by then and then finding out that happened the next day without even knowing? Mental. But guys, yeah, let's just see how this goes the next couple of days. We'll do an update on Elrond, not next week. We'll do it in a few days' time. As I just want to see where we finish off this run. Certainly towards as we finish September, what will be 26th. I'd really like to wrap this Q3 up with a nice positive support line. Hopefully it maybe $2-3. Let's see if that happens. But I do see a little wave pattern continuing as we have seen here. But equally as well, the selling volume is starting to reduce slightly. So hopefully we might see a nice little green pell on the histogram at some point. Guys, thanks very much for watching. We'll wrap that up there. Let us know in the comments below if you're holding EGLD, if you're staking it, what you think of the project, and anything else that you want to talk about as well. We love it. And let us know your price predictions. We'll start chucking them in the chart, and whoever gets the closest has the opportunity to win a ledger at the end of the year if they're the closest. Thank you very much, guys. We'll see you and Elrond on the moon. Try that again. On the moon.